Michigan game with Wisconsin. Wisconsin hits a 3 from half court to send the game to overtime and then beats Michigan in overtime on ranked Wisconsin. I think Michigan is ranked right now, what are they, 5th or something like, or no, Kansas is another one. They're now on a 3-game losing streak. They play tonight, possibly could lose number 4. That was nuts. And you have Louisville, Notre Dame. That was completely insane. There was a lot of different ways to go. Me personally, you had some great NBA games that took place this weekend. But I like the Louisville, Notre Dame game. If there's one game that really stuck out to me, 5 overtimes, Big East battle. Arguably, to me, the main reason on why I hate the fact that the Big East is pretty much being torn apart is because of games like what happened on Saturday night between Louisville and Notre Dame. Bottom line, that was such an amazing game. It's actually the second time that Notre Dame has helped set the record for longest game played in the Big East. They were part of the second longest game in Big East Conference history. They played a 4-overtimer against, I think, Georgetown. I got it in my notes somewhere. I'm sorry. Against Georgetown, 4 overtimes back in 2002. Ironically enough, on February 9th. So all of, pretty much exactly 11 years ago. I thought that was really freaking cool. And like I said, to me, it's the bottom line of why breaking up the Big East sucks. I get it football-wise. I get it. Fine. I understand that.
Football's what drives everybody nowadays. It's sad. It's sad because you're going to lose out on something that was great. It is the SEC of basketball. There are so many great schools. Basketball schools. Schools that don't play football. Like Georgetown.
Well, Georgetown, terrible at football. Do they even have a football
I don't even
program?
think they have a football team. You lose out on, great schools like, Villanova and some really, really good basketball schools. And it just makes me sad at heart that they would have to break something like this up.
And
so many great schools. It's just a disappointment. It's a disappointment to college basketball. And, you have enough parity across the board. Your number one's losing every week. You got, like I said, 5 of the top 11 teams went down this weekend.
Yeah.
There's so much parity across the board that it's a shame football has to be the driving factor of what's going on here in college basketball.
Yeah, 37 times in the last 7 weeks, top 10 teams have lost. 37 times, which to me is just unbelievable. It shows you, me and you have mentioned this numerous times with how parity is so prevalent right now in college basketball. And it's so funny because you look at teams, even with a lot of talent, and you can't sit there and just say to yourself, that's my favorite. Like, you can't, like Indiana, you're like, you watch them look, they looked really good yesterday against Ohio State on the road in Ohio State. And then you watch how they lost to Illinois just 4 days ago. It's such a roller coaster ride of a college basketball season that it's not, it's just, it makes the idea of March Madness so much more exciting. These teams, at best, most of these teams have anywhere between 12 and 14 games left before their conference tournaments start. Like, that's it. You're talking, we're literally knocking on the door of conference championship week. We're almost there. And then right after that, you're going to have March Madness, and it's going to be awesomeness. And I'm so excited for it. Like I said, I wanted to make sure I did mention this at one point or another. Kansas plays tonight. I don't have who they're playing yet in front of me, but I will have it very quickly. Kansas plays. No, they're only giving me Sunday. Sorry. I don't know who Kansas plays today. There we go. Kansas plays home against Kansas State. If Kansas loses, it'll be the first time they've lost 4 games in a row in something like 70 years. Like, that's insane to me. Like, that's the kind of basketball year this is. And a lot of people would tell you Kansas has one of the most talented rosters in the entire year.
Everybody but the
college.
coach will tell you that. He thinks it's one of the worst rosters they've ever had.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
He said it.
I don't blame him. He was pissed. I really don't. He was not a happy camper, that's for damn sure. But yeah, I love the college basketball year so far. This has been awesome. I've been, for the most part, watching as much of it as I possibly can. I was very disappointed because I watched most of regulation in the Notre Dame-Louisville game, and then I went out for my Saturday evening, and I randomly happened to look up at the TV, and they're in the 5th overtime already. I'm like, what the hell did I miss? And then, obviously, next day I'm up, and it's like, let's see SportsCenter, let's see, what happened, how the game unfolded, so on and so forth. And
one kid from Louisville,
wow.
I forget his name. I want to say Smith, maybe. He had, I think, 3 different opportunities to win the game, whether it be, at the end of regulation or through one of the overtimes. He had at least 3 different chances to win it for Louisville and just couldn't hit it. Great game, though.
It was a great game. Blown free throws had a big deal, but that's why you always, if you ever played basketball, I know, Eric, you have. When you play organized basketball, your coach makes you run as much as he possibly can at the end of practice, and then you end your practice with free throws. When you're tired and you're exhausted and your legs are shot and you don't want to do anything but go home, that's when free throws come. Because free throws in the first 3 quarters of a basketball game are way, way, way easier than they are in the 4th quarter with 2 minutes left. Your legs are shot. You're dripping sweat. You've given the game everything you got, and you're like, okay, 2 free throws. And everybody's like, oh, it's got to be the easiest shot out there. And it's like, look, it's a free shot. It's not the easiest shot.
It's a pretty easy shot.
It is, but it's not. It gets harder and harder as the game wears on. It gets even harder to do when you're in a stadium on the road, or specifically on the road with Louisville losing. With everybody staring at you, screaming, booing, this, that, or the other thing. I've actually heard some basketball players say it's actually harder at home in those late game moments than it is on the road. Because most competitors have that chip on their shoulder attitude when people are booing at them, so it makes them focus more. Where compared to being home, everybody's silent. Everybody's staring at you. It's a little bit. It's a different. Instead of more like screw you, I'm gonna make this. It's more like, man, I really hope I don't miss this. It's a little bit of a different feel between home and the road. But either which way, college basketball was nutty this weekend. I had a lot of fun watching it. Did we miss it? I'm sure we probably even missed a game or two. Michigan, Wisconsin, I know we mentioned. Wisconsin hits a 3 at the buzzer from half court to force overtime and then wins in overtime, which makes sense. I don't know about you, but I feel like that makes actually a lot of sense. You hit the 3 to go into overtime, so all momentum and energy and all that's with you, while Michigan's like, I thought we had the game won.
Well, plus Wisconsin's a good team too. I know they're not ranked right now, but they're still a good team. They're a team that'll be in the tournament. I really, really like watching Big Ten basketball almost as much as I like watching Big East basketball right now, because there's a lot of good schools out there in the Big Ten right now.
Big Ten's got a lot of talent this year. They do. You got Indiana, you got Michigan, you got Michigan State,
Ohio State,
Wisconsin. That's just 5 teams off the top of our heads without even having to think about it.